Hi there and welcome to the Digital Futures Festival, brought to you by the amazing team at Employability Bridgend. My name is Sophie Harris and I am a digital PR and marketing specialist with more than 10 years experience working in the corporate world. Now, this means that I've done my fair share of interviews, I've attended lots of scary meetings, and I've done tons of presentations which have made me feel nervous. And for that reason, I have loads of tips to share with you today, which will help you to tackle those nerves and hopefully to feel more confident wherever you are on your journey to a digital career. Whether you're thinking about apprenticeships, have an interview coming up, or are just about to start a new job, these tips should help. So, this session has been designed as a crash course in how to be confident. It's a How to Be Confident 101, even if you aren't really feeling it. And what I say about that generally is that sometimes when it comes to confidence, you just have to fake it until you make it. And if you do that, you might just find that your confidence will grow organically, your nerves will lessen, and you'll develop a new mindset. You will fake it until you make it. And remember, confidence isn't always about being the loudest person in the room, about being dominant and extroverted. Quite often, confidence can be quiet, subtle, calm, it can be measured. So this session isn't about changing your personality, especially if you are that quieter person. It's more about changing the way that you respond to certain pressures to enable you to perform at the very best of your ability. Top of my list when it comes to tackling nerves and feeling more confident at work is preparation. Now, ultimately, preparation buys us control over a situation that makes us feel nervous. So if you consider in advance and you do that preparation to make sure you know what you might be faced with in the setting that's making you feel nervous, you can make sure that you are ready for it. So let's come on to point one. Consider what you might be asked in advance, whether it's in a meeting or it's an interview, and make sure that you have the answers to hand. So if you think carefully in advance, it's often quite easy to predict what people are going to ask you in a meeting. If it is a work scenario and you have kind of a new boss that you're meeting or going into some kind of virtual meeting or in-person meeting with, it might be that actually they'll want to know the results of a project that you've been working on. So make sure that you have those results to hand, and when they ask you, you don't say, "Oh no, sorry, I'll check." Rather, if you say, "Yes, by all means, here are the results, X, Y, Z," all of a sudden you're really going to look like you're on the top of your game just by considering quickly in advance what you might be asked. Meanwhile, it's quite easy as well to predict certain questions that you might be asked in a job interview, and Employability Bridgend can absolutely help you with this too. So do get in touch with them if you'd like some more support on that. Now, coming on to the next point, another useful way of preparing for meetings is audience mapping. Now, this method recognises the fact that sometimes you have to read the room a little bit and tailor what you're saying to appeal to the people that you're speaking to. So you can ask yourself, what do they know already? This allows you to pitch what you're saying appropriately and ensure that what you're saying is of real value or benefit. So with that in mind, it's going to stop you from maybe waffling on about something which is old news, or on the other hand, it might allow you to focus on something which you know is really important to them. Next on the list, ask yourself, what are they feeling? If it's an interview setting, let's say, it might be that you're the last person in the day and they've interviewed 10 others. It might be that with that in mind, they're a bit tired, they're a bit impatient, they're thinking about what they're going to have for their dinner. They might be a bit stressed because they've not been able to do any of their stuff on their work list that day. So with that in mind, you could take the approach of focusing on giving really short, straight to the point, snappy, good answers rather than getting too chatty. Meanwhile, if the person when you go into the room is happy as Larry because it's the end of the day on a Friday and they're going on holiday the next day, they might be really relaxed and chilled and wanting to have a chat with you. If that's the case, definitely respond to them in that way and have a bit of a chat. The next point is ask yourself, what do they want? So perhaps they are recruiting for a new role and would love to have someone who speaks Welsh. If that's the case and you're a Welsh speaker, or maybe you're not a fluent Welsh speaker, but you went to Welsh school and kind of have quite a bit of Welsh still, or maybe you're a Welsh learner, don't keep any of that quiet. Showcase it as a key benefit of hiring you. There are lots of different things that people might want, so do try and have a think about it in advance and adapt your answers per meeting. Next on the list is curating your words. So this is whereby you consider in advance what you want to say, using the tips that I've already talked through so that you can keep your words short and sweet and to the point. And through this method, you can avoid saying the same thing several times in different ways, because after all, what I always say is that the more we say, the less they hear. We need to say it and zip it and crack on. The next thing, and this kind of links to the curation of your words, is all about doing a dress rehearsal if you can. So this is whereby you create a fake scenario where you have to keep talking whatever happens. So ask yourself a couple of the questions that you think might come up and give the response. You can do this when you're at home in your bedroom, when you're driving your car, you can do it when you're walking along on the street. Absolutely fine, whatever works for you. But in this dress rehearsal scenario, keep talking whatever happens. This will allow you to get used to the way the words kind of form in your mouth. It stops you from writing a script as well, which can be quite limiting. It'll make sure that every time you say what you want to say, that the words are coming out differently each time, but that's okay, that's a good thing. It gets you used to the content and the ideas and the concept, which are all much more important than the words. Next things on the list are really important to me actually. So it's about finding out the practicalities. Now, I find that actually you can't always get your hands on these things, so try not to panic if that is the case, but if you can find out these things, it's going to help you to feel a lot more calm in the moment. So a couple of things to mention here. Firstly, IT. If you are going to be presenting, make sure you know what they have on offer. There's nothing worse than showing up and they can't connect your laptop because they don't have the right cables. Room layout is another one. So is it going to be in a boardroom or a conference room? Is it in a cafe? Are there going to be 10 other people there or just one? Is it more formal? Is it more casual? Timings is another really important one, which is really obvious really, but I always like to mention it here because it's really awful if you end up getting the timings wrong or whatever it might be, but if you end up being late, because the first thing that will come out of your mouth in that room then, if you are late, is the word sorry, and that puts you on the back foot straight away. It's far better to be early if you can, so make sure you understand and you know the correct timings. Also, if it is a meeting setting and there's going to be lots of different people there, try and find out who the other attendees are going to be. This is usually quite doable via Teams or lots of other ways to find this out, but try and make sure you know who's going to be there in advance so that you can consider the questions and do all of the other stuff that I've talked about on this slide in advance, and it's going to stop you from having any kind of, I don't know, if someone really important, for example, showed up to a meeting that you thought was just a casual one with your team, that kind of thing might throw you off. Whereas if you know in advance, you can prepare for it in the right way. And the final point on this slide is about the dress code. Now, this kind of falls under practicalities really, but regardless, find out the dress code, because it's really horrible when you end up feeling overdressed or underdressed in any scenario. So find it out and you will immediately then feel a lot more comfortable in whatever setting you are thrown into. This next slide is all about tackling nerves. Now, there are loads of practical practical things that we can do to tackle them, but unfortunately they probably won't go away completely. But for me, I realised that that's not necessarily a bad thing. Adrenaline can be good. It can put energy into what you're saying. It's just that it needs to be managed so that we don't get overwhelmed. Now, the first thing to mention here is that if you're feeling nervous, remember the people that you're in the meeting with are unlikely to notice. And if they do notice, they're not going to be thinking about it for very long. They're going to be thinking about what they need to say in the meeting. So they're not thinking about you. So try and keep that in mind through all this. And on top of that, if you put some of these measures into place, hopefully any visible symptoms of nervousness will be going away anyway. So the first thing that you need to do when it comes to tackling nerves is identify the symptoms of your nerves, because we're all different, and find ways with that in mind to minimize them. So find solutions that are tailored to you. So if you're one of these people that gets a dry mouth, for example, you get a bit croaky when you're speaking or you start coughing, make sure that you have water to hand. No one is going to bat an eyelid if you stop for a few seconds and have a sip of water in the middle of speaking. That's completely normal. Perhaps, on the other hand, you're someone that gets a bit shaky, you get shaky hands. If that's you, make sure that you're not holding a paper script when you're speaking, because that's going to give you away straight away. Rather, you can try and hold your hands still at waist height in front of you, or perhaps even behind your back. And all of a sudden, this visible symptom of nervousness is completely gone. No one is going to know that you're feeling that way. And through this, you'll start to feel better overall within yourself. Now, there are a couple of other practical tricks you can try too, especially if you've tried some of these already and your confidence is still low and your heart rate is still high. So the first one to mention is power posing. Now, this is a technique recommended by Amy Cuddy, who is an American social psychologist and author. You can watch her TED talk about it on YouTube. It's a really good watch, I highly recommend. But in summary, she recommends taking yourself away before the big scary thing that's making you feel nervous. Perhaps, I don't know, you pop to the toilet or to the car park, wherever you can go, and you practice a couple of power poses while you're there in advance of this meeting. So there are a couple of poses that you can try. The first one is hands on hips and a wide stance. And the other one, and I think there are a few more than this, but the other one that I remember is whereby you stand with your arms stretched outwards above your head, with the idea being with both of these that you are making yourself big in the space rather than small and crunched up, which is the default when we're feeling nervous. And by doing this, by making yourself big in a space, you can trick yourself into feeling more confident. So why not give it a try? Another one that you could consider, which works really well for me actually, is yoga breathing. So the exercise that I like is the 4-7-8 breathing exercise, which involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 7 seconds, and then exhaling for 8 seconds. Now, this can really help to keep feelings of anxiety from overwhelming you at a key moment. I find that it's really useful to do just before the thing that's giving you those nervous feelings. And finally, my favourite tip of all involves the Union Valley pressure point. Now, this is this part of your hand here. But give it a Google. It might be better than me showing you on camera here. But essentially, you squeeze the Union Valley pressure point, which is in between your index finger and your thumb. And in doing so, it creates a sensation which is able to really ground you. It brings you back down to earth when nerves strike. And the beauty of this technique is that it's really subtle. You can just do the quick squeeze underneath the table and no one is going to know that you're doing it, which is, quite unlike the other two, the power posing and the yoga breathing, which is more something that you would probably want to do just quietly on your own. So yeah, those are my top tips for tackling nerves. And finally, when it comes to finding your confidence, here are a list of things to practice. All of these are really useful for appearing confident when you might not be really feeling it, and are the kind of things that, if you do them often enough, will hopefully enable a natural feeling of confidence to shine through long term. All because meetings and interviews tend to go better if you appear more confident, and in turn this will create a feeling of confidence because the meeting or interview that you were nervous about went well, and so on and so forth. Now, the first thing to practice is pacing, because when we rush, it can give off the essence that we're desperate for the interaction to end. Rather, people with confidence, people that really command respect, they speak quite slowly and calmly. They don't tend to rush their words, so keep that in mind. Another tip is trying to avoid filler words. Now, this is easier said than done, and I've probably said hundreds of them in this presentation alone. But if you make yourself mindful of this, you can pause instead of saying filler words like sort of, or you know, or like, or Try and become more mindful of it in order to minimize it. Now, this next point is a really important one. Don't diminish your own words before you say them. So what I mean by this is, when so many people do it, it'll be in a meeting setting and you're about to share an idea and you say something in advance of saying the idea, like, this is probably completely rubbish and not what you're looking for, but X, Y, Z. Don't do that to yourself. Being self-deprecating in this way is quite a British thing, I think, so that's why so many people do it. But in reality, if you tell people that what you're about to say is rubbish before you even say it, the chances are that they'll believe it, even subconsciously. And more importantly than that, even if they don't believe it, you'll start to believe it yourself. So avoid doing it. Don't put yourself down in a meeting. There's no point in doing it. Should be an easy thing to stop as well if you put that into practice. And finally, adopt confident body language. People who are nervous, or maybe people who don't feel good enough in a certain room, typically they cross their legs, they cross their arms, and they sit back. They make themselves as small as possible in the face of the danger that their body is sensing. So what we should be doing, therefore, to trick our bodies into feeling more confident and others into thinking that we're feeling confident when we aren't, is sitting up straight, perhaps even leaning forward into conversations. Physical stillness is a big one too. It's a trait of confident people. So if you are someone who gesticulates a lot with their hands, like me, actually, I do that a lot, or if you're someone that gets a bit of a shaky leg when you're nervous, whatever, try and be mindful of these symptoms and minimize it where you can. Ultimately, though, when it comes to confident body language, it's all about taking up space in the room and avoiding that sense of crunching yourself down into a little ball. And yeah, however junior you are, however new you are to this corporate world and this digital world even, you need to remember that you are a part of this meeting, you are a part of this interview, this interaction. So sit up and partake in it as if you deserve to be there, which you do. So there you have it, my top tips on finding your confidence in a corporate setting, all tips that I have used myself to carve a career in the digital sector. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the Digital Futures Festival, brought to you by Employability Bridgend. Remember, if you live in Bridgend County Borough and would like support on finding your future career, get in touch with the team at Employability Bridgend today. You can do that by scanning the barcode below. Bye!